Be Thou My Vision is a hymn dating to the late 8th century, wherein tradition tells us that an Irish poet named Saint Dallán Forgaill wrote a Gaelic poem entitled as Rope to Mobile in honor of a great missionary of Ireland, Saint Patrick. Let us see what inspired him to write the poem. Patrick was born in AD 373 in River Clyde, now Scotland. His father was a deacon and his grandfather was a priest. When he was just 16 years old, pirates kidnapped Patrick and sold him into slavery in Ireland. This caused him to enter adulthood knowing the Gaelic language and Irish customs. During this time, he accepted Christ as his personal savior. Even though he was a slave in a foreign land, it was all part of the big plan of God in Patrick's life. He says, "The Lord opened my mind to an awareness of my unbelief." He later wrote, "So that I might remember my transgression and turn with all my heart to the Lord my God." Years later, he managed to escape and return home to his family in England, hoping now that he would never leave his family and would be with them till the end. But in a night, he envisions a dream in which he sees an Irish man begging Patrick to come to Ireland and evangelize the gospel. This was the time, accepting the call from above. With a Latin Bible, he moves as a missionary to Ireland. What does all this have to do with Be Thou My Vision? On Easter Sunday in 433 AD, the local Irish High King Loghaire of Tara issued a decree in observation of a pagan druid festival that prohibited anyone from lighting a flame or candle. It was custom to lit a candle on an Easter Sunday. Even though he suffered opposition from the king, Patrick chose to honor Christ rather than anyone else and stood against the king. That morning, Patrick risked his life by climbing to the tallest hill, Slane Hill in County Meath in the area, and lit a huge fire. As the ancient Irish people woke up, they could all see Patrick's defiance of the king. He could not hide his light. Patrick wanted to show the world that God's light shines into darkness and that only he deserves the praise. Now Patrick would have been with an intention that he was sure to be killed by the king because of his act. To its contrary, through his act, the Lord had changed the king's life. The king was pleased with Patrick's act of bravery and dedication and allowed him to continue the missionary work thereafter in the land. Patrick performed a fruitful ministry in which he planted over 300 churches and has baptized over 1 lakh souls for Christ. He later then served as a bishop. St. Patrick's Day is observed on 17th March, the supposed day of his death. It is celebrated both as a day of solemnity and a holy day of obligation. Years later, after this wonderful incident took place, an unknown composer wrote a melody in honor of Patrick's heroism and called it Slane. The now forgotten composer named it after the hill where Patrick shined his light, Slane Hill. Unfortunately, the oldest existing copy of the poem comes from the 14th century, and there is no historical evidence connecting the poem to the hymn. Also, the composer's name is unknown. As a result, most hymnals attribute the song to Anonymous. But in 1905, Mary Bryan, a Dublin native, a 25-year-old university student, discovered the 14th century copy of Rob to Mobile and translated it into English for the very first time, and then published it in Heriu, the Journal of School of Irish Learning. Brian was also known for academic publications, including Old and Mid-Irish Dictionary, Dictionary of the Irish Language, and a treatise, England in the Age of Chaucer. It remained for Eleanor M. Hull, born in Manchester, England, in a 1912 poem Book of the Gael, to offer a metrical, poetic version of Brian's work in 12 rhymed couplets that have been used by editors since to arrive at versions of the Four Stanza hymn so widely treasured today. The melody she set it to was none other than Slain, the medieval tune written in honor of Saint Patrick. The hymn became famous overnight and appeared in its first hymnal in 1919. Following the original publication in Ireland, the hymn was included in several British hymnals. After the Second World War, the hymn came to the attention of hymnal editors in the US, and it has become a standard hymn in most hymnals today. Be Thou My Vision. Thank you. Stay tuned. God bless.